Hi everyone, welcome back. What's this? Part 4 of our vintage journal. So we've done our spine, got it all together again, popped in our signatures, and I want to do a flip today. So I've gone to one of my more solid pages. I don't want to lose the effect of this. I love this. This one I like as is. So my first page here. Oh, and I've also cut out all that ephemera on those other sheets that we were talking about in part 1. So they've all been cut out and inked around. So as I said yesterday, I pulled out a couple of envelopes and I want to do an envelope flip on this page. I like this size for the width, but as you can see, it's a lot higher than my book. So we're going to cut it down to size, but we're still going to give it the same effect. What we need to do is work out the size that we want of our finished piece. So I want this staggered so that it's not the full length of my page. I'll grab a pencil. So round about, I don't know, what's that, ½ an inch top and bottom. So that's about what I want. So if that's my finished size, I'm going to cut this off about there, which will give me enough room to fold over again. So I'm just going to sit that down and cut that straight through. Just line it up to my grid. Now, quite often when you're playing with envelopes, they're not straight. This one actually looks pretty good. I'm amazed at that. But just watch with your envelopes, quite often they're not straight or anything else. Looking for a bit here. So I'm just going to chop this off straight there. Oh, it's a nice colour. We might just leave that there. So our finished size needs Our finished size needs to be there. So now that I've got an open bit at the top, I'm just going to snip this down to where I want my finished size to be. My back piece, I'm going to trim off across there as well. And I'm just going to use scissors. So I'll work out round about what that is. What did we say? It's not quite ½ an inch. Let's make it ½ an inch, just so that we've got a good measurement. Not even ½ an inch. Let's go about 1 centimetre. ½ an inch is way too small. So we're going to go about 1 centimetre. How's that? Do the same on the other side. Like so. I'm going to rule that line. And I'm just going to use my scissors. And what I want to do is chop off that back piece. So I'm going to use some big scissors for that one. Straight along there. There we go. Now this piece can now fold over that. We want this to have that same sort of look as in there. So I'm going to fold this one here, like that. And chop that bit off just there. Like so. And I'm just going to round the corner on this bit. Just do it freehand. Doesn't have to be exactly the same. I just want that same sort of look. Okay. This one will need to be rounded as well. So I'm just going to take this up a little bit. Like so. Okay, so I've now got similar sort of look either side. That can be glued back down on that side. Right. Just hold that down for a little bit. Done. Now, I'm going to do it so that my flap is on this page, not over the page, but I don't need all of that. So I'm going to trim that back to behind where this is. I don't need all of that as well. So we're just going to sit that back on my grid again. And I'll probably give it, yep, that 1/2 inch. Again, that's all I really need to adhere it in. And probably a larger ruler. Right, so what I've now got is that one that'll sit right on the edge, like so. Happy with that. Now I've grabbed a couple of, they are slightly different sizes. So I've got this one, which I'm going to have right on the edge of that one. And then that one, which I'll have right on the edge of that one, like so. Okay, so I've got a flap that way, and a flap that way. Envelopes, there's such an easy way to do flaps. But what we need to do is to cut that one back down to a smaller size as well. We don't want too much overhanging from our fold, so I'm just going to trim that one down there. I like to have my flaps put in place and then adhere and then cover my envelopes. So that one's going to go right on the edge, like so. And I'm just, for the sake of being quick, I'm just going to use double-sided tape on that. So my little fold that I've flicked over there, right on the edge. Trim that one off, like so. Oh, yeah, well, that's for the sake of being quick. Yeah, right. Making sure I'm going to the opposite side of the fold. And I want that to come right in, but about even top and bottom. So right on the edge, like so. So I've got my first flap. This one is going to get adhered to that one. Again, I need to trim off, and I'm just going to stick to that, whatever width that is, because there's not that much weight on these ones. So it's around about that. Again, I need to pop my sticky on that one. Like so. Being very lazy, aren't I? Might actually put the lid back on that glue too. How's that? Down there. And this one, that's that side, so it's going that side. Like so. And round about even. Round about. This is me we're talking about. Right, so now when that one's on, that'll be in here. I've got that one, I've got that one, and then I've got that one. I'm going to decorate that one while I've got this one further out of the way. It's nice and easy. And I've pulled out a piece of vintage paper. So I'm thinking that that will fit in there nicely, won't it? I'm just using my fingernails at the moment. About that. Let's find a trimmer. Let's see how straight, yeah, it's pretty good. So I'm just going to trim that bit down first, and then we can work out where we need to go from there. I want that scroll bit there. I would like 93, but I'm not going to get that. I might. If I take that just under the 93, I get that page number in there, like so. Let's have a look now. That can adhere straight on there like that. Straight up there. This one, just having a look. So, and I'm just using my fingernail to mark where that actually finishes. Just there. Doesn't matter if I cut it a little bit too small, and if I cut it way too small, then I can always just have it as a border, can't I? With a border on the envelope. I haven't done my top edge, and I'll leave that until I've stuck it on. That actually fits pretty good. I need to drop that one a little bit to there. That just gets in that scroll at the top. Right, so I can glue all that down. Now I'm going to use a combination of glue stick and a little bit of double-sided tape, I think. I'll trim all these off. I should go find my doobie, shouldn't I? Let's have a look. Where have I got that? There. Oh, excuse me, reaching over. Like that. Now, because I'm doing it this way, my double-sided tape, which normally will grab on you first and foremost, and once you're down, you can't move anything. But if we take our backing off this now, I'm going to, where that piece was over, I'm just going to fold it back on itself. But if we then use our glue stick on top of that, it allows you some wiggle room before that tape grabs properly. And the last one. And before I do that, because this side will be hard to ink, we might just ink that side. So just lightly go up. Just defines it a little bit. Right. Want some glue stick. Wrong one. That's my new one. Oh, I'm forever doing that. I've got to finish one off before I start another one. You can see this one's well and truly loved. Alright, so I'm going over my double-sided tape and trying not to go on my mat because I haven't put anything underneath me. Alright, I've got a little bit on my mat, but that's fine. That's fine. I want this page, and we're going there. All the way up that one, onto that corner, push him down. But it meant because I had some glue on that double-sided tape, if I wasn't quite right, I could shuffle him around. Trimming off this end now, without cutting into your envelope. That, and I can then do this side as well. I might need a larger ruler for that one. See, so my envelope wasn't quite square. Happy with that. Doesn't mean I still can't pop stuff on here, but we're using all the bits that we've got floating around from just that original paper packet. So there's that one. Yeah, that looks nice up on there. So now we've got two more. Exactly the same there, exactly the same on that one. Now I've got some old paper pads that I've had floating around. I've got bits cut off them left, right and centre, so let's use those. They sit on my desk all the time. I mean all the time. But they should be the right size for that, and they will work with it as well. So let's just have a look. I like that one. That'll work. That'll work. Don't need to overthink things, Kylie. I want to ink that side where it goes against that. And I'm going to turn it around that way so that I can see it. Not by much, just a little bit. Now, just before that all, I need to make sure that shuts. Yep. Flatten it out. Yeah, so you can see with this one the difference between there and there. So that can now be trimmed off. I'm just going to use scissors because it's all still a little bit wet. I don't want to use a blade in case now we're going to go up there, in case it tears. I know what I was saying. A blah lot. And then we've got that one, which is there. I'm going to have to use a blade for that one so that I can get right into that tip. Alright, fingers crossed that it doesn't want to tear. Just nice little gentle strokes. Helps when you've got a new blade, Kylie. Alright, so what have we got there? That and that. Happy with that. Give that one a quick little ink. This is where washi tape's your friend too, because when we do our other one, there's a couple of different ways we can do it. Alright. There's that one. We've got this one. Now I do have some of these. That looks quite nice too, doesn't it? Alright, let's just put that one on, and that one's just going to give that a border. Up a little bit. How's that? I'll use that one to straighten it out. Like that. How's that for a quick and easy flip? Now, you can do what you like down here. You can just put some strips if you like. Where have I got my doobies? Here we go. They're still sitting here. This is what I love doing with these ones. So, what have I got in here? I can't bother getting out more. We'll use that one. So, if I have a straight section there, like that, this one goes around and comes around, so we're just going to vaguely tear around, and it goes down to, I'm going to give that a little bit of a border. I'm going to chop that about there, and I lost it already. Just there. Just for the look. I can tear more out of that. Let's have a look and see where I'm going. And you can cover these any which way you like. I'm quite happy with just that. So, once again, we're into our very fragile works. So, I just need to be careful inking around that one, and I really want these ones, so because these have been torn, they will tear even more. So I'm just going up and down with these ones just to roughly get the textures of the paper. Now I'm going to use the glue stick on that. I'm going to get rid of that way, and being very careful with my glue stick. Okay. Giving that a push. Should have inked around these before I started, but that's alright. See, it's very quick and easy to do the other side. Now that we've got this one, because I don't want to keep you here too long, I promised you they'd be quick and easy little ones. This one's going on this page, and again, I want this one adhered right on the edge of this page, which means that we'll see that. So when we cover something on the, let's just do it. Stop waffling, Kylie, let's just do it. I'm grabbing a wider tape this time. It's going to be about that one. Okay, I'll chop that like so. Peel that one back off if I can. There we go. Now I'm going to fold all this in together so that I can hang on to it together, and I'm going to turn the whole thing around so that it's upside down. Because I'm a right-handed person, I've got this in my right hand, and I want to go even spaced. And I'm going to actually get, here we go. I'm just going to sit, that's another envelope, but I'm just going to sit that under it so that I can make sure I can just see that page and none of the other pages. And I'm going to start at that corner, and then I can move myself up as I go. Like that. Okay, now I can pull that out. Now I've got that, but I've got this thing sitting here, and I'm not a big lover of that, so I can put something on all of this. Again, this is me. I will probably just go with my newspaper. I might have to pull out another strip of it because this is a vintage journal. So here's my bits of scraps that I always use. Oh, I like that one. That's a full page. I don't want that one. Let's just find a strip. Here we go. Here's a strip. Here's a strip I used earlier. And I can just do something like that. So I'm going to chop that down there. Like that. Put that one away. Give me some space. Yep. And I only want it, I want the torn edge, okay? So, but I don't need it that wide. So I'm just going to sit you there. And I'm going to trim that back to about that. What do you reckon? That's at its widest spot, going to give me a bit over 1.25 inches. Which is only going to come out there, so yep, I might go on that line. Straight down there. Now, I do have a new blade. I'm just wiping that on my jeans, because that's what jeans are for. And I'm just going to very carefully do a couple of shallow cuts. It is a new blade, but this paper tears and catches really easily with my blade. So let's just have a look. So, as I was saying before, this is where washi tape works a treat too, because you can adhere washi tape on there. That needs to come in a little bit. And I'm just going to get a paper clip, one of my long ones, to hold all that together for now, just so it doesn't want to flap around on me while I'm doing this. Washi tape works a treat. We might do another one later on in washi tape, just checking if that binds, and I can put it right up. Yes, I can. Washi tape works really well, and most washi tapes, if you've got the lighter coloured ones, you can ink them up to give them a more vintage look, so don't worry if they're new and all the rest. And you can get them in different sizes. You can still tear the side bit and give yourself a torn look as well. We all had this big thing for washi tape, but I don't think we use it enough. So we might have to pull some of that out and use some of that as well. Now I want to go up this end. Don't really want to go too much on the paper. I just want to go on those edges. You can't beat old newspaper. But, you know, that's me talking. Right, that should do us. Let's have a look, and I'm going to go that side. I'm going to pop you right down on the end. I might just do you as well while I'm there. Right. So you're going to sit there like that. You're going to come up here to there. Do you fold? Yep, that doesn't bind. Okay, I'm going to use my glue stick for that one. No glue still wet on there. And we're just going to take it easy again. I know it's somewhere up the top. Alright. Hold the rest of it up. And it's allowing me to move it as I need to. Just double check that that's not binding. No, you can see if you lift it back and it's lifted a bit, you know that it's bound a little bit. Happy with that? Alright, so I can trim that side. I'm just going to use my scissors. Carefully. Sit you there. And I need to ink that top edge now, don't I? Like that. So, very quick and easy flip for our book. Haven't lifted it too much. Told you it would sit back down a bit once I left that bookmark, not a bookmark, what was it? Paperweight. So, now when we open, we've got that, we've got that, we've got that. Still got to put something there. And I've still got to put something there. But that's how you can do a very, very quick flip, multi-flip, in next to no time. And most of my envelopes are thrift shop envelopes. Whenever I go to the craft section, I always go to the craft section, stationery section, you'll usually find bags and bags of envelopes. And quite often you'll get packets that have lots of different sizes in there. If they're white, tea dye 'em, coffee dye 'em, look for all your other colours as well. Hope you've enjoyed this one. We'll continue on with this. That's been 30 minutes, Kylie. I might whip a little bit of this out. We'll see how we go. Thanks for joining me again today. Till next time. Happy Vintage Journal. Bye.